Welcome to Sportpen.
Great to be here.
We're diving into the story of Jerry Rice today. And this isn't just about the highlight reel touchdowns.
No, not at all.
We're digging into, the pivotal moments, that almost unbelievable drive he had, and just the sheer artistry of his game. That's what really cemented his legendary status.
Yeah, what does it actually take to be that good? The GOAT, as many call him.
Exactly. And how did Rice kind of redefine what that even looks like in the world of sports?
Well, what's fascinating when we look at Rice is really how his journey started. Way back.
Right. Rural Mississippi.
Yeah, growing up there, those early experiences, they weren't just like quaint stories, they were foundational.
How so?
Well, working alongside his father, his dad was a brick mason. That probably instilled a certain grit,
That hard work ethic from day one.
And those runs on the long dirt road near his house, people talk about that contributing to an agility and nimbleness you just can't really coach.
So the raw materials were being forged really early on, almost by accident, maybe?
You could say that. It wasn't formal training, but it shaped him. Then you look at his time at Mississippi Valley State.
Yeah, not a school you hear about every day in football power circles.
Definitely not. A smaller, predominantly black school. But the key thing there, they threw the ball a lot.
The Satellite Express, right, with
Yeah.
Willie Totten at quarterback.
That's the one. They were just airing it out constantly. So while it wasn't a big-name program, Rice was getting an incredible volume of catches, of reps.
Honing his craft, basically, over and over.
Exactly. In a way that definitely made the NFL take notice. I mean, they were putting up, video game numbers back then.
It gave him a real head start, didn't it? That sheer experience with catching and route running.
Yeah,
A kind of concentrated training ground.
for sure. But then, he gets to the NFL, drafted by the 49ers, Bill Walsh, huge expectations.
And suddenly he's dropping passes, which is crazy to think about now.
Right. He's talked about himself, about losing his confidence, feeling the immense pressure, to represent Mississippi well.
It's a stark reminder, isn't it, that even the most gifted athletes, they face those mental hurdles. Big time.
Huge. It's incredible to think that the guy who became Mr. Reliable, synonymous with sure hands, was struggling with drops early.
But he points to that second game, I think it was against the Rams, as a kind of turning point.
Yeah, he said it was like a switch flipped. He just decided to relax, let the game come to him, and the talent it took over.
Talk about a pressure release valve finding its moment. Phew.
And, let's be honest, he walked into an incredible situation with those 49ers.
Oh, absolutely. The team culture there.
You had veterans like Freddie Solomon, Dwight Clark guiding him.
And, of course, Joe Montana.
Right. And it wasn't just about their talent on the field. It was the culture they had already established, this relentless pursuit of excellence, of professionalism.
Imagine being a young player, a rookie, absorbing that level of dedication every single day.
Montana, even after winning Super Bowls, was still obsessively detailed in how he prepared. That's the kind of environment that just elevates everyone around.
And you can't talk about that era without mentioning the architects, right? Owner Eddie DeBartolo and Coach Bill Walsh.
Absolutely. They created a culture where winning wasn't just the hope, it was the baseline expectation.
And they backed it up, providing the best resources, fostering that championship mentality.
5 Super Bowls in 12 years under DeBartolo. I mean, that's not an accident.
No way. Plus, Rice has always talked about that incredible connection he felt with the 49ers fans. That kind of support, it has to be a real motivator, too.
Definitely. But even inside that winning machine, those early drops, they led to real criticism. From the media, maybe even some fans initially.
And it's interesting how that adversity just seemed to fuel him, didn't it?
It really did. He shared a room with Guy McIntyre during his rookie year, and McIntyre talks about this quiet, intense pressure Rice put on himself. He wasn't loud about it, but you knew he was driven to fix those mistakes.
He just wasn't going to let those early struggles define his career. No chance.
And think about the draft itself. It's fascinating that the Steelers, another team known for great receivers, were apparently planning to draft him too.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, the story goes the 49ers actually traded up specifically to grab him right before Pittsburgh's pick.
Wow. That speaks volumes, doesn't it? About how highly Walsh and the team valued his potential, even coming from a smaller school.
And even with that 40-yard dash time that wasn't, blazing fast.
Right, that 40 time, somewhere around 4.7 seconds. It often gets brought up.
But it just underscores a crucial point, doesn't it? Combine numbers aren't the whole story, not even close sometimes.
His game speed was different.
Exactly. His ability to accelerate quickly out of his brakes, to maintain that speed throughout the route, even late in the game, That's where he excelled.
It was functional speed, football speed, and it lasted. He had that stamina deep into the fourth quarter and well deep into his career.
It's like he had this extra gear that just wouldn't quit. Incredible conditioning.
And then the route running. Dennis Green famously called him the best route runner he'd ever seen.
High praise from a respected coach.
And it wasn't just about speed, was it? It was the precision, the understanding of leverage, how to use his body to create that sliver of separation.
Football IQ off the charts. He famously said he knew he wasn't always going to outrun Deion Sanders. Deep, right?
Prime time.
So he beat him with those crisp intermediate routes, perfect execution. That's understanding your strengths and your opponents. It's brilliant, really.
And then, of course, you have the hands, the legendary hands.
Ah, yes, there's that almost mythical story about him catching bricks from his dad as a kid.
Yeah, who knows if that's literally true, but it certainly speaks to this perception of just incredible reliability, like glue.
And his own quote, if you look good, feel good, you'll play good. It hints at that meticulous preparation, the confidence that came from knowing he'd done the work.
He was always dialed in, completely focused.
And beyond just catching, let's not forget, he was a very, very effective blocking receiver.
That's a great point. It's not the glamorous part of the job, is it?
Not at all. But it shows his commitment to the team's success. He wasn't just a star who wanted the ball. He was a complete football player doing the dirty work.
And he himself has said that a huge motivator for him throughout his entire career was the fear of failure.
Yeah, that constant drive not to let people down. His teammates, his coaches, himself, it pushed him relentlessly.
And that push led to, well, incredible longevity. To play at that elite level for 20 seasons.
20 seasons, and missing only, 17 regular season games in that whole span? It's just astounding.
It speaks to an unbelievable dedication to his physical conditioning. We have to talk about the workouts.
Oh, yeah. Those legendary off-season workouts, running the hill at Edgewood Park.
Other players would try to join him sometimes, right?
They would try, but often they just couldn't keep up. It wasn't just training. It was the different stratosphere of commitment, of pain tolerance, maybe?
It's like his body was this finely tuned machine that he maintained with just obsessive care.
Absolutely. And the result of all that, just rewriting the record books completely.
Super Bowl X3. That MVP performance, what was it, 11 catches for 215 yards, record-setting stuff.
On the biggest stage. Then surpassing Steve Largent as the career leader in receiving touchdowns in '92. Milestone after milestone.
And putting up incredible stats well into his 40s, with the Raiders even, catching 92 passes for over 1,200 yards at age 40.
It's ridiculous. His receiving yards after age 40 dwarf almost every other NFL player's entire career totals after that age.
He was still making Pro Bowls at 40. Who does that?
Nobody. Just Jerry Rice. The sheer volume of records he held when he retired is just staggering.
Touchdowns 208 total, receptions 1,549, receiving yards almost 23,000.
Seasons with over 1,000 receiving yards, 14 of them. Most receiving TDs in a single season, 22. He wasn't just breaking records. He was setting marks that seemed, and maybe still seem, almost untouchable.
It really makes you wonder if we'll ever see those numbers approach again. He didn't just raise the bar. He, built a whole new stadium on top of it.
And he did it against the absolute best. Facing off against Hall of Fame cornerbacks, guys like Deion Sanders.
And not just surviving those matchups, but thriving. Again, understanding his strengths, exploiting weaknesses.
That Raiders chapter, too, it's such an interesting part of his story.
Yeah, after kind of a tough ending in San Francisco, maybe feeling a bit slighted.
He found a real resurgence in Oakland. Used that perception, whether real or imagined, as fuel, more fuel for that fire.
And even late in his career, he was still making huge plays. That touchdown in Super Bowl XXX7 at age 40. Still getting it done.
There's even that slightly funny footnote from 2004. He actually threw an interception on a trick play.
Oh, yeah. Against the Texans, wasn't it?
I think so. And then he had a pass picked off himself later in that same game, which was actually a defender's first career interception.
It just reminds you that even the all-time greats, they have their human moments, right? The game can surprise anyone.
Keeps everyone humble, I suppose. Now, we do have to touch on the Stickum controversy.
Yeah, there's no getting around that discussion. His later admission, and then sort of walking it back a bit, about using Stickum on his gloves.
It's part of his story. It's a complex issue. Definitely sparked a lot of debate.
But it's also important, I think, to consider the full context of his career, the era he played in, and just the overwhelming evidence of his exceptional talent, and especially that work ethic.
Agreed. It's a piece of the puzzle, but maybe not the defining piece for most people when they look at the whole picture.
And even after he finally hung up his cleats, that competitive fire, it didn't just disappear, did it?
No way. His passion for golf is pretty well known. He takes that very seriously.
But beyond sports, his commitment to philanthropy, giving back to the community,
Yeah.
it shows another side of that drive, maybe. A desire to make an impact beyond the football field.
Yeah, it rounds out the picture of the person, not just the player.
Ultimately, when you look at the whole career, the championships, the insane records, the sustained dominance over 2 decades.
Yeah, the consensus view of Jerry Rice as the greatest receiver of all time, it feels pretty solid, doesn't it? Hard to argue against.
He didn't just play the game, he elevated it. He set a standard.
His story really is a powerful illustration, isn't it, of how incredible talent, when you combine it with an almost obsessive work ethic and that unwavering mental toughness, can lead to true, undeniable greatness. He set a standard that still inspires athletes today across all sports.
Jerry Rice's story is definitely more than just a highlight reel. It really is a blueprint for achieving excellence. Through that unwavering dedication, constant learning, and the ability to turn challenges into fuel, his impact on the game is just undeniable, setting standards that, well, they may never be broken.
Truly remarkable.
Thanks for listening to Sportpen.